that on the screen?
Yes, I see your screen.
That's Barnes' screen.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah, I'll
doing
be doing the
screen
screen
sharing for
sharing
this
for this
presentation.
presentation.
So do you
So
want
do
us
you want
to
us
send
to
you an
send you an
email
email
first,
first,
or?
or
I can see the screen. It's no problem. So you guys can go ahead and start.
Okay. I can do I'll do I'll go ahead and start it off. I'm sorry. Uh, First off, we have the milestone overview. Let's see. The summary, we have completed the initial functional requirements draft, and then we were to set up an environment, and all required software is installed, and then from there we plan on future milestones. And what we've completed, the interview product on the initial requirement, we received the initial understanding of the requirements. We created the website space. We also created the website with GoDaddy, uh, and it has database capabilities on the website that we could use. We have a shared drive location for collaboration. We're using Google Drive for all of our documents, and we interviewed the product on full requirement when we received all requirements from the product owner, and we created the requirements document and we sent it out for your approval, which you said you would give us feedback on it.
Yes.
Um, and the next slide would be the in progress tasks. And right now we're just waiting on feedback from you. The design documentation, we want to know more information on that from you as to your specifications as to how you want it to look. And that same thing goes for the workflow design document. And does somebody want to take over at the Gantt chart?
Sure.
sure.
You guys can
You guys can
hear
hear
me,
me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
All right, so according to the Gantt chart,
what
what we originally planned out is what Josh talked about, the sections, not only two items that are currently in progress is the design documents and word design. Workflow design, so we're just waiting for the approval of the functional requirement because we get the feedback. We're going to be creating these two documents as part of the delivery for Sunday. Other than that, we actually have a full track on whatever we're trying to accomplish for the first milestone.
And I'll hand it over to Kaeli.
Hey there. Okay, so some of the challenges that we faced were selecting the right programming languages without compromising compatibility. So, of course, on the outside, the graphic user interface is not too much of an issue, simply because you have your common HTML, your CSS, and then maybe some JavaScript if you want some more of a dynamic design versus a static design. What I was concerned about was more of what database language to use, because some have pros and cons over the other. So we chose MySQL simply because it was part of the hosting. So the GoDaddy site is actually mine, but I pay for the hosting and everything, but it also does come with the option of a database without having to pay extra. So I figured it would be suitable for what we are intending to do for our project. So MySQL is good because aside from being a database language, it can actually handle a lot of entries, which is what you're needing for your application. You said that it'd be at least about 1,400 give or take online courses, and it's going to be able to handle that. So another challenge that we had was planning the flow to best imitate the previous workflow, so it's a little bit more intuitive, and possible nuances that we may not know of, but we could try to predict as far as how people actually would use the system. versus how we designed it. So, and then also there's also creating a system used by 3 different users with separate needs. So, of course, the course reviewer is going to have, a lot of capabilities on the site, whereas someone who is just a teaching professional may only have the ability to submit, and you have the course reviewer administration who will have complete access to the site no matter what they need to do. So some of the lessons that we learned is that not every user nuance can be predicted, but we're trying as much as possible to make sure that it's something that, as many users, different kinds of users as possible can use and not get frustrated or not get lost, and, that it's efficient. Another lesson learned is that I personally didn't think about backups on the database, but they are truly necessary, especially with all the information that's going on the database. So by the time we, start developing the database and all that, a plan will have to be realized and put into place, because, once we import that data, we got to make sure that it stays put and that, everything goes smoothly once we transfer all the data over to the database to begin with. Some areas to improve: as application needs and security needs expand or change, we might have a need for a different programming language. MySQL is good for handling a lot of information, but it's not as secure as some of the other SQL versions. So that may be a security issue. I mean, I do understand that, Kennesaw State is not a prime target so much as maybe like the Pentagon for security issues, but, you always want to think with security in mind. You don't want, someone to access that information and then potentially have a data loss.
Sure.
And then a web application will need improvement as end users decide how well it works. We want to tweak it, of course, to make sure that it's as intuitive as possible and as easy to use as possible, so your process is efficient and, easier to do, because that's the whole goal of the application to begin with. So the next phase, Milestone 2, has us finalizing the initial user requirement documentation. Oh, sorry, next slide. Yes, finalize initial user requirement documentation. Request product feedback, which we're going to talk about today, I'm sure. Our conceptual design, our logical design, and how we're going to plan the database, and of course testing the database. So next slide, going to somebody else.
So the other issues that might come up a long time, we might have some database security issues, which is when we are trying to integrate the hosting server with the KSU main server. There, as Kaeli stated, so we might have some kind of database security, like data loss and stuff, issues with that. Also, when migrating the old data to the new database, this is one of our concern, which we need to handle somehow. And also database field matching, which is MySQL data fields works in a way that should be matching the order of the main database table. So we should be keeping that in mind too. And that's it for now. And I think if you have any questions on this one.
Okay, this is the end of the presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's go backwards. Let's go back to the previous slide. When you're talking about the migration of old data into the new database, are you referring to, say, once the system is being done, that handed over to us, then we're gonna migrate the data, or which old data are you talking about here?
Farhan, can you please answer to that question?
Yeah,
What's
sure.
the question again?
Database migration, you mentioned about the migration of the old data into the new database. What data are you referring to here?
I figured that you would probably want all of the pre-existing information that you have for all of your for your courses as it stands. One of the functions that MySQL has is that you can import those documents. If they're Excel documents in a certain extension, you can import that data into the database. So that way, all the stuff that you already have done is not just lost. You can actually transfer it over into the database. That's kind of what we were hoping.
Okay,
or at least
okay, that makes sense. Yes, we do have all our data in Excel right now. They might not match your database design, but I guess we'll figure out a way. But we do have that in Excel. Okay, that makes sense. I saw it somewhere that I forgot on the slides or somewhere there's mentioning about WordPress. So is this going to be based on WordPress or what? I thought I saw it somewhere. You mentioned it.
It might have been in the document. The site, we included it just to make sure that you knew it was there. But my my domain, when I purchased it, the hosting is Linux cPanel, but the outside is ran by WordPress, and it's kind of optional. I can not have it on there, and that's just a matter of honestly uploading, your typical bare bones HTML documents. But we just put it there just to make sure that you knew that there was also WordPress on the site. If I guess we were just putting it there just to have it there, just to make sure you knew what was all on the site. It has that. It has database. It has PHP My Admin, a whole bunch of tools that we could work with to create the application.
But say essentially, if you're done with the project, and you're going to hand over all the, source files, whatever. WordPress is not going to be part of it, right? Or is WordPress part of the functionality that you rely on, or
I personally don't think WordPress will actually be necessary.
Okay.
If you want a pretty, super pretty dynamic, front page, then yeah. But aside from that, I was planning to just work the CSS myself and make the design myself without WordPress.
Okay, that makes sense. Because initially I thought that's the case, but then I saw the WordPress. I forgot where I saw it, but I was a little bit confused. Okay, that makes sense. Now, in terms of the document, the draft, I do like what you have so far. I think you captured pretty much all I have. I don't know if I mentioned it before or may have forgotten to mention it, but so one of the things I do want to bring to your attention is that when the request form is submitted, there is supposed to be an email notification that goes out to a number of stakeholders. For instance, the person who's submitting the form need to get a confirmation email, and also the department chair and the online program coordinator in the college will also need to be copied on the email. So I guess I may have forgot about that initially, so you may consider adding that somewhere. And
it'll probably be in the new features, into the features.
Yeah, and also I think it's a typo actually in the document 5.5. It says business rules. I think it's business roles.
It is supposed to be roles. Right.
It's supposed to be roles, right?
Yes,
that's what I thought. Okay. You may wanna, because I think I definitely forgot about that one. The add one more role. Maybe add one more role. The what do they call it? Online program coordinator. You may have to think through it, because I don't even know if this role is necessary in the system or not. What it does is that when the person submits the email, both the department chair and the online program coordinator, they are both faculty members in the college. Sometimes the department chair will be the coordinator, sometimes not. But both of them need to be copied and notified. But otherwise, the online program coordinator doesn't really do much or interact much with the system at the current stage, or at least not we were thinking of. But as I was reading your requirement document, and I think you actually there's one idea I wasn't initially thinking, but I was reading it, and I think it's actually a good idea, where you mentioned that the person who submit the where was it? The person who submit the form, they need to be able to edit. There's a dashboard. They need to be able to look at their workload or something. The course is developed. I forgot where it was.
Try section 2. It might be in there
Section 2.
somewhere. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think section 2, user classes and characteristics. So you have the educator and the reviewers. Yes, the reviewers. Because we weren't thinking about it, but you mentioned here that they may have a dashboard. They can track their tasks, the courses that need to be reviewed. I think it's a good idea. So potentially the program coordinator may have a similar dashboard. They may be able to track all the courses that's been submitted and under review for the whole college. And that may add another layer of complexity to the whole application. So I'm okay with leaving this out, but if you want to add that in as at least part of the design, then that actually be good. So if you do decide to have that, then the programming coordinator will, at least at the minimum, they should be able to see all the courses that belongs to the college. In that regard, you need to figure out a way. You're probably gonna have a dictionary on the back end to determine, okay, it's all based on the subject number, right? Or not subject number, the subject code. So like IT or CS or CSE are on college with computing and software engineering. And I don't know, like ENGL might come from humanities and social science. So you have to have a way to figure out, depend on the subject code, which course belongs to the college.
Is that okay if we can put this like in a to be determined requirement kind of deal?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
So I'll just go ahead and move the coordinator dashboard and also the online program coordinator sections in this area as a to be determined requirement kind of deal.
Okay. But you do get what I'm saying. So for the coordinator, they need to see at the college level what courses are being submitted and under review. Okay, and you've added the email, right? The notification. So
we will add that.
Okay, and I was looking at the section 5.3, the field formatting. This is not your database design, right? I assume.
This is just our initial concept of the database design, just an initial version only.
Okay, because I would think you probably need like at least quite a few tables, because one table is not going to do the job. right?
Yeah. So this will be something that will have more information once we start building databases and have building the tables. We will add more information to the requirements document as needed.
Okay, because I was thinking like, say, department chair, it's not necessarily, or department chair is more of a role. So you may have a role table that department chair is the value, but but you don't need a department chair field to put somebody's name in. Do you get what I'm saying? And there are a few things. Course number. Course number, right now you put in int. My recommendation is to change it to varchar. Most of the time it's 4-digit, but there are rare occasions there's going to be a letter attached at the end. So you may need at least 5 or even more. So if it doesn't hurt, I would give it a few more just so that there's a little bit of flexibility there. And also like dates, okay. Because you're gonna have the approval date and whatnot, expiration date. There's something else. Let me see. Oh, the course title and section name. I would give it a little bit more, especially for section name. Oh, it's still on the table. 5.3. The.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the document portion.
Oh no, it's 5.3.
Right there.
The course title and section name. I would give us a little bit more than 25. Not which one is that? Oh, course title, yeah, and D12 section name, especially the D12 section name. Occasionally it goes a little bit longer, just in case. That's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it. Let's go back to, well, once we're done with this, let's go back to the PowerPoint slides. Okay, this is the one of the earlier slides, right?
Yes, the completed task.
Let's, I guess, move forward. Project feedback. So this, I guess, I just give you guys the feedback on the document and the initial requirements, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I guess we get this out of the way. And the next items would be to create the design document and the workflow design. So once we complete these, then basically this slide gets removed out.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions regarding those two, or you think?
My main question on actually them too. So for the workflow design, were you looking towards having something similar to what you had in a PDF document? Like this?
I was actually more thinking about use cases.
Gotcha.
Because it's more on the task basis. Well, task based, because I log in, I do certain things, and then I'm done. Then I go back in and do another thing, and then it's done. So I think task based flow makes more sense. Essentially, that means it's more of a use case. So workflow, yeah. In terms of design, I would leave that to you guys in terms of how you describe the overall design, because I know you you have to describe the functionality, and you may have, your database design or something, and I would assume that at least you may have a couple of mockups, or early mockups at least, to indicate how that would look on the, on the page or in the browser or something.
So on the design documentation, we were thinking more of just like on the mock-up side of things, just like have like the GUI interface mock-up, like how it may look like a little bit.
Okay.
But that was just about it, because the design document is actually a different delivery, which is towards Milestone 2. The database design document will be completely separate. Is that okay?
Yeah, database is separate. Yes, that I know. Yeah.
Okay.
That works.
Cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the mockup coupled with the use cases, that'll essentially, show us, on what page, what we are going to click, and what's the next page and whatnot. So yeah, that'll work. I guess we're done with this page. So let's move on to the next one. The Gantt chart. Do you guys have it in the shared drive? I don't see it. So if you don't mind me.
Yes, it is actually. It's under the archival folder. And under the archival folder was actually part of the first milestone meeting logs and whatnot, so we just put it right there.
Okay. Because I noticed there are a lot of folders, so I tried a couple of them and I got lost. So it's okay.
Yeah. We're actually going to remove the submission folder, so you'll only see the requirements in archival. So the archival is mostly the stuff that we've submitted already, whenever we've done in this past as well, on a weekly basis.
Okay. All right. Cool. And I guess next. Okay, I don't have anything for this page, or unless you guys have any questions for me.
Nope, I'm good for this page.
Okay. The lessons learned, the first one, not every user nuance can be predicted. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I was just thinking that trying to predict how you guys would use it versus how I would use it, because not every user uses the same thing the same way.
Okay.
My example is like we have a POS system at my old job, and I know how to work it, back and front, but my boss, who's not so tech savvy, she doesn't know where everything is. So trying to make sure that we can predict, can someone who's tech savvy find it, but can someone who's also not tech savvy find it? Or work through it the way they need to.
Okay, that's a very good point. Okay, thank you. And okay, can you move on to the next slide? Okay, I think I'm good. What's next? Okay, we discussed this. Okay, all right. I'm good. I think you guys did a good job with the document. So if you can, go back and make the changes accordingly, and move on to the next phase, I think you guys are good. Any further questions for me?
On the use case side, so what kind of use cases were you looking for? So are you looking for like a flow in a use case, or are you looking for a specific case itself? Like for example, let me see. Let's put the requirements for a second. Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, this is a requirement right here, the total number of list of courses that were submitted for review. So, do you want the use case to surround like a developer comes in and creates a course, sends it out for review, a coordinator comes in and gets that approved? Something in that scenario, or are you what type of use case are you looking for then?
What you just described.
Okay.
Yeah, and also that, and also there are, what I'm trying to say is that I know there are a lot of little tasks that you can do, right? I don't want you to have to come up with that for every button or every functionality, but there are certain areas that I do want you to highlight, be able to highlight at least. One, what you just described is one. The other ones, such as the course review coordinator will come in and assign reviewers. I think that's one of the most important use case. So, I do want you to highlight that, how that is achieved, things in that regard. Like in terms of like what we're looking at, be able to list a bunch of courses or sort by whatever, those are, all this are actually total number of lists and list courses. Essentially all these are just a one big table, right? You can sort or filter by something, so that can be, I guess, represented with just one example. So you don't have to show me every one of them, but because I think it's essentially just almost like a one feature. But like what I said, being able to assign reviewer, that's one of the most important feature that we're looking for. So if you want to highlight those, that'll be good.
So you just want the high-level main features highlighted in the use cases, basically.
Yes, and yes, okay. And some features are overlapping. Like what I said, it might just be a search function that achieve all of a bunch of lists that we have in the document. Then you don't have to list every one of them because that's just one page. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope, not as of now. I had the same question about the workflow design, but you just answered.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you, guys. And I guess I look forward to hearing more from you guys about the design.
Actually, just one more question.
Okay.
So on the submission side of things, I gotta get rid of this stuff. I'm sorry. So on the submission side of things, so once we're completed with all of this, are we going to be submitting all of this to you and also to the class professor, or
how? Oh, you mean at the end of the semester?
At the end of the Milestone 1.
At the end of the Milestone 1, you're gonna submit to me and the course, the capstone course, to Professor Young.
Okay. So for Professor Young, we're basically be doing it through D2L. So for you, we'll just send out an email to you with all of these documentations.
Yes, that'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Email, or since I have the Google Drive, then you can just let me know that it's in the Google Drive.
Sure.
What is the name of the document? That'll be fine. Yeah, but I do think you have to submit everything to Dr. Young. You can double check with him, but I do believe so.
Okay. Then I'll just put the submission folder in a Google Drive, and we'll have the main milestone folders in there, which you will be able to see all of our documents that we're basically going to be submitting to Dr. Young in that folder.
Okay. Yeah, because I think at the end of the semester that you're all going to do presentations and showcase on the project and whatnot. So I guess essentially everything has to be submitted because we have faculty from the college and the folks from the industry to come attend your presentation, and they're going to look at everything, including every documents and whatnot. And I guess what is the right word? Grade based upon everything that you have. So yeah. And that's it. And good job, guys. And I'll talk to you all later.
Alrighty.
Okay. All right.
We'll keep you updated.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.